So I'll move to vote to approve the December meeting minutes as amended.
Second.
Yep, second. Okay, and any all in favor say aye.
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 Is unanimously accepted. So next is housekeeping. I don't have any housekeeping items, I don't think. Does anybody have any housekeeping items? Okay, so as far as membership goes, we had a volunteer card last meeting, and I think where we left off with that was, oh, is that Linda Miller? Is that who it was who just joined?
I think it was, the person's name was different. Let me see.
Yeah, Linda Miller is a member of the planning board. So I think it was another individual. I don't have that with me right now.
Oh, it was a person named Nicole Hammond.
Yeah, there we go.
And I believe that
Okay.
name was put forward to the planning board, and they are making that recommendation to the select board.
Nice.
Correct. But I don't know where the select board is.
Okay, so then we're just waiting. Is there anything else for us to do? Okay. Initiative track, any other membership updates? I think we're pretty good on membership with that. Okay, initiative tracker. So last meeting, we said the Complete Streets project is on hold for the winter. Anything else to comment there?
The only other comment I have is through listening to Public Works meetings, they said that the surfacing of ComAv, which you guys might have noticed, it's a little bit bumpy, that they ran out of material, or there was a material shortage. They kept them from doing some of the surface work that they had originally told us that they wanted to do before winter hit. So I just wanted to share that in case folks were like, why are there potholes here? I think that's part of it.
So is it still planned to be finished by May or by April? What's the plan?
From what I understand, the plan, once they're able to have warm enough weather to do the work they're trying to do, I think, yeah, probably spring-ish. And I mean, at the rate things have been going, I wouldn't be surprised if they're still working on it in the summer.
Did they actually do I thought they were gonna reclaim the surface before they stopped working. Did that happen? I haven't noticed.
No,
I don't think it did.
no.
Well, maybe that's for the better, right? Because it was just gonna be like that all winter if they had done it.
Yeah.
Okay. And then B is the
I-
beyond. Yeah, go ahead.
I actually have a question on that, if I may.
Sure.
Well, first I saw them out there patching some little patches today, so good for them. My question, and one, you don't know the answer, and two, I bet the answer is no, but I'm going to ask anyway. With all the delay, is there any chance of getting CMLP to run fiber down Commonwealth Ave as part of the paving project?
I don't think it's in their budget.
Not in the budget. Okay, I thought it was a planning issue. Budget can't be helped either. Thanks.
Cool. Thank you. The next one is Beyond Complete Streets. And I think last time, Anne, we had said like maybe let's screen share the slides this time around. Are you prepared to do that?
The slides that are up on the town website about, because I could certainly do that. We do need to make it safer for walking and biking in West Concord. We do have, I don't know who put it up, maybe Marcia did on the town's website for West Concord Advisory Committee. There's like a slideshow about what other communities around us and what Concord Center has done to make really beautiful crosswalks that are very visible for both cars and pedestrians. I mean, we can go through it right now if you want. I can do whatever you want.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the question is what's actionable from that. You know, we had kind of punted this to now.
Well, I mean, I definitely think we should definitely look at it. I think more and more with the bridge over Route 2 officially opening, more and more people are going to be taking it. And are going to be taking the rail trail. I take it every day. I see the number of people taking it, the diversity of the population taking it. And I think having better crosswalks on ComAv, better crosswalks by the rail trail. I think there's lots we can do, and we've got to do evidence-based design. We've got to look at what other communities have already done. We've got to show that we care about the public as much as they do. So, I mean, if you want, I can call it up.
Yeah, sure.
You want me to just get it on it's on the town website.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Maybe, maybe we can just open a discussion about sort of what's next to do.
Is anyone attending the Transportation Advisory Committee meetings?
When is that next one?
I don't know. I'd have to look on the website, but
Because I think I'm supposed to be the TAC member.
They are discussing this. It comes down to budget and money. And there are advocates on board, but looking at the total package is the issue. So I think you really need to coordinate.
Let me
You are a
coordinate
good
with them. Do you know
advocate.
when the TAC meeting is? Is it this week?
I don't know.
Okay, so I'll look it up. I'll coordinate with them. I think it is really important. What I've seen other communities done, like Northampton, actually the businesses, the outside funders raise the money for it. And I think at the mill, Bradford Mill, it is, and there are a lot of really dynamic businesses in West Concord, they could raise the money for it. I think there's huge interest in really making it, just more a pedestrian haven. Let me just find here it is, West Concord Advisory Committee, here it is. Oh,
Do we have a sense for what it really costs to get the crosswalk installed? I mean, are we talking a couple $1,000s or 20,000 or?
From what I've talked to, from the public works side, people I've talked to in other towns, it's all over the place. Anywhere from $250,000 to 20,000. I mean, it's all over the place, depending on what you do. The kind of paving you use, if it's plastic, if it's paint. I mean, it's just, it's all over the place. That's not a great answer, but I think that's kind of true.
And just to reframe the scope there, when we say beyond complete streets, remember we had done this walkabout with the public, and we had just collected ideas about walkability, bikeability, pedestrian access around West Concord. Crosswalks was sort of one subtopic of that, but there are many other topics as well. And then I think we had later learned that the Transportation Advisory Committee was doing a lot of duplicative work, or was even ahead of us on this. And that's when we came up with the idea to have the liaison to the TAC. I believe that's how that worked out.
Yeah, and I think there are a lot of, I know some of the West Concord avid bikers on that committee, and I think they share our passion for making it really safe. If you want, I can share my screen. Do you want me to go over to West Concord Junction? I can share screen if I have the right to share screen. Yeah, it seems like I have the right to. So this is going over what we did the last 2 years. Can everyone see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. And I think we really put a lot together here. This is a lot of work of about 10 people. We put a lot together here, and this includes the walkabouts we did with the Transportation Advisory Committee. And really to make it safe for walking and biking and for people of all ages. And here's the Complete Streets Plan, exciting step towards further pedestrian improvements. Showing
that's what's happening now. That's what's already happening.
Right. Yeah. That's what's in process now, but been delayed, I guess. We went through that, and here we are. Hey, I recognize some of the people here.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a cute picture, that guy wearing the hat. Okay. Okay, so there it was, the group on the path. This is great. And there's people from the Transportation Advisory Committee with us. This is the 2021 walkabout. Over a year ago, the walkabout route. Make it more coherent and safe. And I think there was a lot of worries about the faded crosswalks, and some places where people cross where there's no crosswalk. You really see that on Church Street. I do it every day. And then what's really interesting is to see, like in Concord Center and in Acton, people are really improving crosswalks. I'm seeing a lot more brick crosswalks going in. with granite. It's really interesting. What's the seeing like this one here near Concord Museum. I don't even think that's over 2 years old yet. That's brand new. This is the crosswalk near with fading paint, you know, on Com Ave. It's even worse now. Missing crosswalks, Commonwealth to Kenneth Dunn Square. That's pretty super dangerous. Fragmented crosswalk where you don't know quite where the crosswalk is and the road is. So he did a lot of work on this. It's really well done, I think. So the idea of make sidewalks safe for all, fill gaps in the sidewalk network, make sidewalks attractive, make walking a coherent experience. And then we did also with people of different abilities, we showed where they are also kind of struggling to even get to the public library.
And the church up there.
And the church up there, right? Poor sidewalk conditions, like just super dangerous right here. Yeah, this area, oh my God, biking here. It's just super scary because if you don't bike on the sidewalk, the cars almost take you down. And then if you bike on the sidewalk, it's super narrow, right? And you can't do that if a pedestrian's on it. So it just doesn't quite work. But it's really something we need to look at. And the fact is the bridge was built, what, 100 years ago, 150 years ago? It hasn't been updated. We need to really look at that, getting grants to do that. More poor sidewalk conditions. All this is on the town website, you know, gaps in sidewalk network. And then more of this. One participant, the triangle intersection of Lawsburg and Com Ave is really dangerous for bikes. I've had a lot of close calls in all directions on that. It's a quote. Again, difficult for people pushing strollers. So where should we focus? Church Street, Main Street, Bradford Street at Maple Court, Commonwealth Ave. And then we just looked at what other people are doing.
By the way, there's maps. Where are those maps nowadays?
This map?
Yeah, they were gonna print those, I think, and like make them available at a kiosk.
Yeah, they are. They're basically doing an updated version, I believe, Marcia, right? They're doing an updated version of this with more recent businesses on it. It's supposed to come out, I think, in June or something.
I believe so.
Yeah, and so we have those at Bradford Mill. You can get them if you go to some of the, we handed them all out. Beth Williams was really great. She came and gave us all the maps to us and we handed them all out. They've all been handed out to all the businesses on there. I think you can still pick some up at the Bradford Mill. We still have some.
I think some of the stores in West Concord also have some. I'm
Yeah,
not sure
the
which
stores,
ones, but-
we gave them all away. Everybody was really happy to grab them. They all took them. It was great.
But I think we have the digital files for those maps too. So if, John, you ever wanted to like use it and mark certain places, you know, for a presentation or as part of the materials that our committee has, like we can do the digital files as well.
Cool.
Right. I think what we also had on here is some example of, the long-term goal was to create really safe connections for bikers and pedestrians to go between the two cultural districts, the one in Concord Center and the one in West Concord. I mean, they're about 2 miles apart. You should be able to walk them. This for Europe, you'd be able to walk it. and most people are too afraid to walk it or to bike it. Of course, I've done both. It's a little scary, but we should make it safe. So areas for signage, we did get 4 of the signs up. I did talk to Aaron McCloskey and I did have a conversation with the cultural district. They can't give us any more signs, but they did give us a PDF. I did send you guys, what other cultural districts have done is they've made small versions of the cultural district sign from the PDF and they posted that like on their rail trails and stuff. And that's something we can think of doing. And Aaron McCloskey told me from Public Works, he said he has 2 places where we don't even have to put in the posts for the signs, they're already there. Because we need signs for entering the cultural district from the rail trail. Right now, the signs are only on the highway or the roadways for cars. And so a lot of people will be coming in from Acton, eventually from Sudbury. They need to know they're entering a cultural district too. And so he says he already has picked out 2 places. We just need to get the signs. And I did talk to Billy Crosby and he said we could probably get the signs for $200 or less. We already have the PDF. The fact is these are low what do you say, low tech signs? That means like they don't shine at night, like a traditional sign, a stop sign. If you put light on it, it'll, these are pretty cheap signs that we have, the cultural district signs, just so you know. So I think through here we have more examples of good, I believe, as I recall, was there examples of good signage here? Next steps. Ideas for other improvements. I think we had some good pictures of all kinds. Oh, examples. This was really good, I think. We took a lot of time, like 2 years, to get all these examples of better crosswalks. Some of them are new, some of them aren't. This is in, and the way crosswalks are really interesting. In other towns, they're used to kind of identify where the center of the town is. I think it's really interesting how they're getting used. So I think this was in Grafton. This is in Concord Center, right around the new museum addition. There's no brick or granite crosswalk in West Concord. And we should change that. This is Concord Center. This is interesting too. I did hear about this. A friend of mine's husband does teach here. He was almost killed riding his bike to his work. And Concord Center did work with the town to get this crosswalk installed in front of the Concord Academy, did work in front of Concord Academy. That's interesting. So, I mean, it just does highlight the school in an important way, I think.
It was paid for by Concord Academy.
And
the museum paid for that crosswalk that is by the museum. So this is the town does not have the resources.
Right. When Marcia, when you study other towns, Northampton, they frequently raise it that way from other places. So
I'm just saying that it was, these are outside funds that have provided for these.
And my sense is they're West Concord businesses that would easily, they just have to be asked. Nobody's asked them. And I think there'd be West Concord business who would, and there's so many bikers in West Concord, they would love to do it. But I totally understand it.
I think it would be interesting to get a sense like of what various levels of crosswalks would cost. Like, what does the bare minimum cost? What does something that is colored but not actually brick, so maybe it's made to look like brick, it's faux brick, and it's just paint that kind of looks like brick, and then what does brick and or granite actually look like? So we have that continuum of, well, what's the cost? And then I think it would be interesting, we could go around and ask different businesses in West Concord, like, what would they be able to contribute?
We could get it, because I think what I've also noticed when I watch people drive here, they drive slower when they see that. It slows people down, the way of fading white brick. I think it's a really good next step. I'd be happy to take it on with you if you want, just to go look at the cost, because the costs go all over the place.
Yeah. So Marcia, like, if we approached the museum, for instance, do you think they would be able to give us a ballpark of what it cost them to have that crosswalk, I don't know, designed and installed, or like, how do we look into it?
They may, but it was all pre-COVID. So
yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
You're right. Like, multiply it times 2, and that's our cost now.
But the fact is, pedestrian safety is still the same. This is really interesting. I used to live in Acton, and when I lived here, there was nothing like this. And now there's this. This is here. I think this was probably paid for, who knows, but probably by the developer who developed this whole new property here. This is in West Acton now. They've got a brick crosswalk too. So it highlights that this is a place for people. This is Grafton again for this town center there. I've already showed you this one, vehicle speed. Well, this is a whole nother issue, but Cambridge has reduced speed to 20 miles per hour. They've really gone down, I think, in 75% of all streets. Pretty amazing. And it's really interesting about when they did it. They then, look at this, they educated the public about it in all these different languages. I thought that was really interesting, how there was, not only was the process for it, but a public education process, that this is what was happening in Cambridge.
So related to speed limits, something interesting did happen either today or yesterday, where Governor Baker, on his way out of office, signed a bill that allows municipalities to petition to have speed limits on state roads within their municipality borders reduced. And I'm sure it's quite an undertaking, and maybe you have to get buy-in from your whole entire town in order to do that. But I know we had been talking about, like, well, on Route 62, which cuts straight through West Concord, sometimes the speeds are higher than we would like. And right now they're marked at 30, 35, kind of like it's a kind of a potpourri of different speed limit guidance that people are given. And if we really wanted to start the process of getting that road's speed limit reduced, I think this new law gives us a pathway to do that.
That's really great update. That's really great. I think the science, to understand the science of speeds is really important. This basically says it in a nutshell. So if you're hit at 20 miles an hour, you have 5% chance of death. If you're hit at 30 miles per hour, 45%. You can understand.
Susan, sorry to cut in, Susan, what was the new law that you mentioned?
I'm not sure exactly what the name of it is, but it's something about protecting vulnerable users of the roads or something. And so it basically dictates now that cars have to give at least 4 feet of passing distance when they're passing a bicyclist, someone in a wheelchair, someone walking, etc. So that's a guideline that's now statewide. And basically, you as a car, you're encouraged to cross over the center line if that's what it takes in order to give that pedestrian or person who's not in a car enough clearance so that they're not kind of like threatened by being run over by your car. But then the other part of the law is related to being able to determine speed limits within the boundaries of the municipality, even though state roads might be involved. So for instance, Concord could say on 62, we'd rather have the speed limit be 25 miles an hour, even though in the past, Massachusetts said that it had to be 30 or 35. So I feel like that's a step in the right direction for the state. I'm just not entirely sure what it would take in order to actually pursue that law and use it for ourselves.
Sue has her hand up.
I just wanted to comment when you were talking about sidewalks and brick. I wanted to remind you that on your walking tour of West Concord, somebody with, I think it was somebody in a wheelchair, I can't remember exactly, asked you not to pursue actual brick because it crumbles and is a difficulty for disabled people walking across it. So you could save yourself some trouble by looking into brick, but on the other hand, maybe you want to continue to look into it anyway in case there's special brick I don't know about.
Yeah, no, brick is good. So if you actually want to know about walkability, I do study the neuroscience of walkability. And it's walkability is handled with automaticity. That means your brain does it best if it doesn't have to think about it. And what that basically means is your body wants to, your brain, your eyes want to be able to fixate non-consciously on specific places. And the problem with black concrete or white concrete, it doesn't have enough fixation points for the eye to focus on.
My point, Anne, was that literal brick can crumble, whereas the faux brick, with its painted to look like brick,
yeah, they're definitely
the focusing issues without the crumbling handicap.
That's definitely a good point. And what I've seen too is that people are doing all different kinds of things. Some are using real brick, some are using faux brick, some are using plastic like brick. I mean, or just painting. There's all different kinds of ways to do it. But having a pattern on a roadway is really important for the brain to see because it allows you to fixate and feel more secure walking across. It's just the way we work biologically.
So we've got 10 minutes left conservatively, and there's a lot of really good material in this slide deck. Why don't we generate at least one action item here, knowing that the TAC is doing some work on very similar things right now. What do we think I don't think that, there's so many topics in that presentation that maybe the approach here is to start to sort of chip away at it.
Well, I think your idea is great. I'd be happy to approach the TAC. I think we already have approached them. They know we're interested. I'd be happy to go to the next meeting. I'd also be happy to share this burden with other people. There are a lot of things here. There's a lot here.
Yeah, maybe the thing to do, Anne, is just to kind of say, and we could present that and we could circulate it. Well, we could present it and we could just kind of say like what, kind of put our heads together with them. And
that's actually a brilliant idea because they don't realize, I think they helped us make that slide deck. So we should say that slide deck's on the town website. It's over 2 years of volunteer research, putting it together from people who live here and live this every day. And we want it, it's powerful stuff and we want to be able to figure out our next action items with them. I think working with them is a really clever idea. And I'd be happy to approach them. That's a great idea.
Okay, did you want to just attend their next meeting and see if you could try to present that, or did you want to try to reach out to somebody on the committee?
I'll do both. I know two people on the committee. I can reach out to them and I can also say, we'd like to present it, whatever they think is best. I can send them the link. What do you think is best? Send them the link and say, we want to make some movement in 2023 about this. How can we work together to get some progress on this? And I also think what Sue said, the idea of just figuring out prices, like what are we looking at? Are we going to do what Northampton did, which is they raised funds to do their funky painted crosswalks? That's what they did, and it was a public outreach.
Yeah, I think what you said is right. Link them to the public slide deck, tell them that we want to start to generate action items on this in 2023.
Yeah,
and
right.
Don't limit the scope to any one of the topics, right? I mean, like their speed limit topics, signage topics, sidewalks, crosswalks, right? So, and Kenneth Dunn Square is probably its own whole topic, right? So don't limit it just to crosswalks, for instance, and see what they say. And maybe we just start somewhere where they need help or something like that if they're already working on something.
Maybe should I invite them to our next meeting?
Yeah, see how much cross-pollination we can get.
Let's do that. I think that makes a lot of sense. Invite TAC member to next meeting, because I know Bill Posner is totally into this and a few other people.
Let's go back to the agenda, because I think that's probably good for Beyond Complete Streets. We talked, I think, about a lot of these in that same topic. So let's move to 13B. And Susan, I mean, that's quick. I think we, from the last meeting, we discussed this. Patrick had, I think it was his wife actually on the call. We had some email exchanges after that. And we've actually just been trying to set up a meeting through the holidays with Patrick to debrief him on the last meeting. So there hasn't been a lot of action there yet since last meeting. I did want to clarify something though. We've been kind of saying like there's been the suggestion that, and Susan, maybe you understand this better than I do, but there's been the suggestion that he would not really benefit from the updated affordable housing changes to the affordable housing law, because some of the other concessions he's had were sort of contingent on him having enough affordable housing, and so we're sensitive to that. I just want to make sure that's true and correct, that he shouldn't sort of wait for the updated law, because it would that calculation would change things for the number of units that are proposed in that building, for sure. It's originally 8 units, right, Susan?
Right. Yeah. I think when we had talked to him last, he was not thinking that any new law related to the affordable housing formula was really the issue for him. It was more that sort of the parking space constraint and having the number of units he can put in that space limited by how many parking spots he must provide for that building.
Yeah. That was a comment from Elizabeth, and I sort of don't want to like poison the conversation if that was just a comment and nothing more than a comment. So anyway, maybe in our discussion with him, maybe we'll leave that kind of up to him to pursue.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we've got only 5 minutes. I'm assuming we're getting cut off. On F, G, and H here, does anybody want to provide any particular updates?
I can just give you a quick update on E&S.
Okay.
I had my oil changed a couple of weeks ago, so I chatted with Joe a little bit, and he indicated, I didn't say I'm inquiring from the West Concord Advisory Committee. I just was sort of asking him, what's the status? Because it's been on the burner for a long time. He gave me the sense that it isn't any different than it's been, that it's available. And if he were to get, I said something about, you must be ready to retire at this point. The poor guy's running the whole place by himself. And he said, well, yeah, someday. So I didn't get the impression anything was imminent at all. Possibly if someone were to come to him with the right number, whatever that number might be. Interestingly, I subsequently or previously was getting a sandwich at Neshoba Brook, and there are certainly people there who are hopeful that they in some way will be able to buy the land and the space. So I don't think there's anything that's happening immediately. Joe certainly didn't say, yeah, I'd like to get out of here as soon as I can. No rush on that sense. So that's about it right now.
Okay. On Giroux Park, last we heard there was some negotiation about like the budget escalation for that, and that it's on hold. I imagine that's still the case.
Correct.
Okay, liaison updates. So we talked quite extensively about the first one, transportation advisory. And then Laura, did you have an update from the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail?
There hasn't been a meeting since our last meeting.
Right. They're going to be meeting at the end of January.
Okay. Let me do it this way. Does anybody have a liaison update from this list? Besides the one we talked about with number 1. Okay, and let's see. And then on the planning board, who is the liaison, or who was the liaison at the last meeting?
I was the liaison. I don't have much to report other than I briefly saw the new candidate for the West Concord Advisory Committee. She spoke, and and as we stated, they put forward her name to the select board, I think. And then there was some discussion about the potential. Now, I didn't totally understand the details of this, so maybe Marcia, you can like clarify, but about the revising the affordable housing laws. Do you remember? Didn't that come up at the planning board meeting?
Well, there's a number of things we're looking. There's the housing production plan that was finalized in December and has gone to the state for approval. And so how that, and then looking at the MBTA Communities Act and how that it might impact either the West Concord train station area or the Concord Center train station area. So we're at least going to do an assessment to see how that might impact those areas and if it might be possible for us to comply with the new law.
Maybe that was it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that might have been it.
Okay. I'm actually just trying to look up, because we have a spreadsheet for scheduling planning board liaisons. I don't actually have it handy. Does anybody have that handy?
Planning board
Why is that
scheduler.
coming up?
When's the next planning board meeting?
It's Tuesday night. They're scheduling an additional planning board meeting.
Did you say Thursday night? I couldn't hear you.
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Tuesday.
The
Which
10th.
is the same day as the Transportation Advisory Committee. So I think that knocks
Yeah, that
Ann
knocks me
Sussman
out.
out for
Yep.
attending.
Okay, I have it here. Okay, so I think I've volunteered myself for that one. So I'll plan to join that, although I have I'll plan to join the next that next meeting. And there are some that aren't taken. So let's see, Laura, myself, Barbara. So Anne and Susan, if you could go in and pick a couple.
Okay, that sounds great. Where do you
Okay.
find this?
I'll circulate this link again.
Okay,
Also, our schedule is not quite so even as always the second and fourth Tuesday. It's posted on our webpage on the town website.
Right.
Okay.
And town meeting sort of messes everything up, so.
Okay, but I will join this next planning board meeting, and Barbara, you're on deck for the following one, and Ann and Susan go in and pick some.
okay, that sounds great.
I'll circulate the link again offline.
Thank you.
All right. Well, it looks like we didn't get kicked off.
I know, I'm delighted. So that means they fixed it.
We kind of rushed through, and I guess Sue, I don't know if there's any other public comment at this point. Anything that we should go back to?
I'd like to just bring up one quick thing about the signage. When I did talk to, as I mentioned, when I talked to Aaron McCluskey, he's the guy who was very good at getting up the signs for us for the cultural district. He did say that there are 2 posts for them to be put already standing for them to put smaller versions of those signs. And the cultural commission, Mass Cultural Council has sent me the PDF, and I think I can find out how much it would cost for us to get 2 more little signs. I also can send you pictures of Natick. I can show you how the town of Natick used the small signs. And I think they could be really helpful so that people entering that aren't driving in know they're in a cultural district.
Yeah.
So,
could you bring
and
us-
I think that the West Concord Junction Cultural District Committee has a grant from MCC that they're able to use at their discretion. And I'm wondering if we could approach them and see
Let's
if
do
they
it.
would be willing to fund those signs.
Let's do it. And because I think one of the issues I see when I compare our signage comparing with like what's in Martha's Vineyard and places like that, like in the central area, they also have a sign so people know when they're there where they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think we could use 2 or 3 more little signs, definitely on the rail trail. So I'd be happy to go with you, or I'd be happy to share that image of what they have in Natick, the small sign. It's the exact same PDF of the sign. And I think we could get them made pretty inexpensively.
Yep.
According to what Billy Crosby told me. So, and also Aaron already knows where he could put them. So it's like, we just have to get the signs made.
Yeah. I feel like that's totally low hanging fruit, and we should work on getting that done as soon as possible.
So that
Yeah.
people that have come in by bike know they're in a cultural district, and right now they don't.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's just a question of how to pay for it. So if you have an idea for that, Susan, let's reach out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think we can get them all done for under $1,000, even under 500. And so I think.
So I wonder, did Aaron show you, Anne, where he would want to put the signs? Because I feel like that might be
He
part of the
already seemed to
pitch.
know. I mean, because we went through the whole area, and I was in a car with him for about about 2 months ago. But yeah, I think he already knows in his brain where he wants to put them. And this guy thinks signs, right? So
Yeah.
I think we could just ask him to show us on a map, or we could just
Mhm.
email him. He's very efficient.
Yeah.
I think we need to come up with the signs though. And I can also send you or send, I've got the cultural council sent me the PDF. So I've got it.
Oh, good. Yeah. So that's all a sign maker needs, is that PDF, and then they would size it and like
And
kind
the
of put it
size-
on whatever
probably the
material.
size that's been done, we can call up Natick and say, what's the size of your little sign? Because I didn't measure it, but we could find out the sign. I sent you a copy.
Excuse me, you also need to get the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail Advisory Committee's permission.
Okay,
Yep.
yep, we'll get their permission.
And they recommend to the town manager
Okay,
and things like signs.
okay, that sounds great.
Okay. So there are a few little twists and turns in terms of getting this done, but I feel like within the next few months, we could probably make this happen.
I think
sounds
we
like.
can do it. I think it's not going to be that hard, and we already have 4 up. I think that's great. Now we just want to finish it.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, anything else that we should go back to, or should we end early?
I just have a quick question actually for Marcia and maybe the members of the planning board who are on, related to the MBTA communities rules and what effect that might have on Concord and West Concord Junction. Are you guys continuing to discuss that at the planning board? I'm just wondering if any conclusions have been arrived at related to that.
the planning board has not been, but the select board has, as select board finance committee chair and planning board chair did meet to say, yes, we should at least evaluate. So the planning division staff is seeking some grant funding so that we can have an assessment done, and working with our GIS staff to sort of assess what we have available. So that's, I think that application is due by the end of January, and we'll then be working on it through the spring.
And so would that would produce, I guess, consultant recommendations on where within the like half-mile radius of each train station development would be recommended?
Where development could occur.
Okay.
You know, we don't make recommendations. We just say
Okay.
what we have available and where there is potential, because most of the land is developed. It would require redevelopment or reimagining what it might look like.
Okay.
We have until, I think, the spring of 2024 to, if we're going to move forward with any zoning, and out of this might come some zoning recommendations, but not any particular, yeah, we're going to put 50 houses over here, we're going to put this high rise over there. It would be, what are the parameters and what a developer might look at in terms of is 15 units per acre and what that might happen.
Yeah.
how
Okay.
that might be.
Thanks for the clarification.
Okay, I think we've run through everything. Any other questions or comments?
Oh, I have a quick question, actually. Sorry to keep jumping in. I think we have to do an annual report or something for our committee.
Yeah,
Is that
right.
right?
Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah.
And
Do
you had
next
raised
Friday.
your hand.
I did? I said I'd do it with someone.
Susan. Yeah, you said you would do it with somebody else.
So yeah, and I can work on that with you, because what I have a feeling is we can just go through the different minutes documents
We're
and
good. We're good together.
find
We're good
the
together.
highlights. Yeah.
Okay,
You don't
we're
even
gonna
have
do
to,
Email
I
me.
don't even think you have to do all that. Like, if you look at the last one, if you just gave a few, just take the last few sentences and replace it with sentences about things that we've done in the last year. I think that's all you need to do.
Right.
Okay, that sounds
Yeah.
easy. All right, good.
You can take the first step, hon.
I will.
Yeah,
I'll take the
just
first
do it.
stab. I'll send it to you, and then you can have
Okay,
a
that sounds
look.
perfect. That sounds great.
Just kind of do it off the top of your head. You don't have to like dig through all the minutes.
Okay, all right.
I don't think that's necessary.
But I think really coming up with an agenda for 2023 would be really powerful, just to make sure what our agenda is, and then collaborating with the other committees, the planning board, the TAC, just to really get it to happen so it's safer to walk and bike here. So
Yeah.
we have,
Yep. Sort of
agree.
what happened, what did we do last year? Or what are we trying to do this year?
Yeah.
exactly, that's a great idea. Right.
Okay, could you circulate that with the group in the next
Mhm.
few days so we can take a look and chime in?
Yes, absolutely.
When's it due by? The 13th?
It's
Yeah.
due next Friday, yes. So if it goes out and just goes back to Susan, it not in
Yeah.
a chain, but individually coming back to Susan, that will preclude you from violating open meeting law.
Right. Okay, I'm gonna move to adjourn. Do I have a second?
I second.
Any opposed? All right, thank you very much.
Great meeting.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Bye.
Happy New Year.
I guess it
Bye.
helps
Happy
to
New Year.
have a deadline.
Yeah.
Well done, John.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.